What's up guys, Thamrakshan here. If you plan on buying a used phone, well, one of the best options to get is an iPhone. And it's because iPhones do age well in most of the aspects. But the iPhone lineup since being widespread, there will be a lot of confusion in choosing one. And right now one of the good budget iPhone to buy is this guy, which is the iPhone 7 Plus. Well, for a phone to be a good option, it actually needs to perform really well or at least be fine with these factors. But in that also, the valuation of phone being good or bad with the factors depends on the price tag the phone is selling. And with the iPhone 7 Plus, it's now not available as a new unit, so the pricing thing will be different in different regions. And here in India, a good condition iPhone 7 Plus pricing will be in the 17,000 to 18,000 Indian rupees range, which is somewhat like 250 US dollars. And here the verdict in each factor is based on this price tag. So let's not waste any time and let's start things with the first factor, which is the design and build quality. And this factor is a clear win or a clear dominating one for the iPhone 7 Plus in its present segment. It's mainly because the build quality of the iPhone 7 Plus is still top notch. The phone's body is made of aluminium, so there is no issue regarding the sturdiness, and also the portion where the display glass joins the frame, it's perfect. There is no gap or flexing issue. Any other buttons, they all still work great. And even the only port available, which is the lightning port, is still working fine. So with the build quality, well, there is nothing to worry except just the cosmetic stuff, which is basically just applicable for the black colored iPhone 7 Plus versions. This color is the jet black one, and here as you can see, this color didn't age that well. Well, that's because there are portions where the color has chipped off. Now here with the unit I'm using, you might have already noticed a dent on the back, and that has happened because of the extreme rough handling. And other than this, there is just cosmetic aging things, but these won't be present in the silver, gold and the rose gold color options of the iPhone 7 Plus. And about the design, well, it's overall still a good design because the back camera layout looks neat, and also the antenna lines are well integrated into the body of the phone, and even the thickness is just 7.3 mm. So in all that regard, it's still an attractive design because of the sleek nature. But then from the front, well, that's where the design shows its age. Is this an issue during day-to-day use? Well, it's certainly not, but then these huge bezels does make the phone a two-handed form factor one, even though the display size is just 5.5 inches. And right now in 2021, all phones selling in this price range have slim bezels with hole punch or notch cameras, so when you compare the 7 Plus with those phones, the aging thing is very evident. But then a key thing to highlight here is that, since there is huge bezels, the iPhone 7 Plus does get a home button, which is not a physical button, but instead it's a glass portion which gives a home button pressing feel because of the excellent haptic system used in the phone. The vibration feedback you get from the 7 Plus is without doubt the best in the segment for 2021. And here this glass portion also does house the very fast and accurate Touch ID sensor, which to be frank is still an industry best fingerprint scanner. So in these regards, the chin is actually useful, but from a design point of view in 2021, it looks very dated. Now last thing to highlight in this factor is that, even though the phone is a huge one in terms of length and width, the weight is not much. It's 188 grams, and here the weight balance is perfectly done, so you won't feel any fatigue after using the phone for an extended period of time. So overall with the design and build quality, I'll say that the iPhone 7 Plus is still a pretty good one, even though the bezel thing makes the phone look very old. It's not something that will spoil the user experience, and given the fact that the rest of the things are perfect, and also the added advantage of the IP67 dust and water resistance rating does give the 7 Plus a big upper hand compared to the competition in 2021. So that's a good start for the 7 Plus, but we have more stuff to check, and hence let's move to the second factor, which is the display and audio. The display in the iPhone 7 Plus is a 5.5-inch IPS LCD Full HD panel, and this display is still a great one. In terms of size, it might not seem big, but here the 16:9 aspect ratio of the display does make the experience enjoyable while viewing regular contents and also while playing games. And here the max brightness level the display can reach is sufficient at 625 nits, so outdoor usability is not a concern, and also about the colors and viewing angles, they are all still perfect. Everything is sharp and crisp, and also the display does support white color P3 and 3D touch. So overall, even in 2021, I'll rate this display a great one for consuming media or browsing the internet or even for playing games. And here to make the experience better, the audio side in the 7 Plus is also well covered by the dual speakers offered. This speaker system does output adequately loud audio, and also the clarity is good with sufficient richness, and hence even in a moderately noisy environment, the audio experience is good from the 7 Plus. And also the earpiece provided is still holding well, and hence the call experience is fine too. Well, the iPhone 7 Plus doesn't have a headphone jack, which was a missing factor in the past, but right now you can get a good quality Bluetooth headphone under the 2000 Indian rupees range, so the headphone jack missing thing is not something you need to worry about in 2021. So overall in the display and audio factor, the 7 Plus still performs great in 2021 when it's compared to the phones selling under the 20,000 price bracket. It's mainly because of the quality of the display and the way the speakers back the display to give an enjoyable user experience. And while talking about user experience, the core thing to focus is on the internals. And that's our third factor, which is the hardware and performance. The processor that powers the 7 Plus is the Apple A10 Fusion chip, and the RAM available is 3 GB. And also about the storage options, it ranges from 32 GB to 256 GB, and it's like always non-expandable. Well, this internal spec doesn't look very promising, especially the RAM, but then while using the 7 Plus, the good part is that Apple does optimize the software in a perfect manner, which is the main reason for a great performance. And with the 7 Plus, this story is holding true when we compare the 7 Plus with the phone selling in the 18,000 to 20,000 price range. In such a competition, the 7 Plus is still a champ. For normal tasks, things are still very smooth and there isn't any noticeable lag. Social media and regular apps open instantly, and even with heavy games, they also load with adequate speed. And yeah, the best part is that almost all the apps in the App Store works well, and even if it's a heavy task, they do work fine. Graphic intense games does show a bit of frame drop at times, but that will not spoil the gameplay, and that's what makes the user experience a good one in the 7 Plus. But here, while doing intense stuff for an extended period of time, well, the phone does get warm to touch a bit more than normal, but then that's also something that won't create problems with the usage. But with the RAM management, well, it's an area where the 7 Plus struggles a bit because it's like only 5 apps stay open in the memory if they are moderately heavy apps. But then an area where the 7 Plus has an advantage is in the software. The phone right now does run the latest version of iOS, and most probably the next major version will be supported. Well, all of this together does make the iPhone 7 Plus a good one in this factor. Hardware and performance side is right now holding fine, but it will start to show its age in a year or two. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, if in case you're thinking about 5G, well, the 7 Plus doesn't have such a support, and at present some of the Android phones under the 20,000 price bracket offer 5G support, but from my side I think 5G is not a main factor yet. And by the way, the number of SIMs you can use with the 7 Plus is just one, and it must be a nano SIM. So that's everything for the hardware and performance factor, and in 2021 the iPhone 7 Plus is doing well in this factor too, and that's all happening even without a higher refresh rate display. And actually the same is holding true even with the fourth factor, which is a very important one, and that's about the cameras. 7 Plus has two cameras on the back, which are two 12 megapixel cameras, and here the main camera is a wide camera which has an aperture of f1.8, and the secondary one is a telephoto camera which has an aperture of f2.8. And here the photos captured with the main camera are still pretty solid, especially with the segmentation. Now this positive thing with photos is only when there is light available. And it's like a scale where in a very good lighting environment, the photos are perfect, and that perfectness drops as the light starts to fade. And in a dull lit environment, the shots are actually not usable. Now this is because there is no night mode support available in the stock camera app. But then like I said, if the photos are captured in outdoor scenarios with the main camera, well, the image retains the detailing and the dynamic range is good, and also the colors are true to life. Then about the secondary camera, well, it can be used only if there is perfect lighting. The ability to 2x optically zoom is a handy thing, but then the main advantage with this secondary camera is for taking portrait photos. Now here the strong point of the 7 Plus from the back camera side is not with photos, but it's with video recording. Max video resolution supported is 4K at 30 fps, but the mode I prefer the most is 1080p at 60 fps, and with such a setting, the videos captured are impressive. There is optical image stabilization for video, and here the focusing is spot on, and also the colors look true to life, which overall means the video output is still great, especially when compared to the competition phones. Then about the front camera, well, it's a 7 megapixel sensor, and its aperture is f2.2, and here the selfies captured are just fine. Compared to the competition, there is sure shortcomings like the overall scene being a bit dull, and also grains become very evident if it's an indoor setting. And here also the advantage is with the videos captured, but it's not like a major thing because the overall video output also looks a bit dull. Stabilization is good, and also the colors are neat looking, but then here you're not getting the back camera advantage gap. But overall, while talking about the camera system in the 7 Plus, well, even in 2021, it's holding its mark. If you want a great video camera phone under the 20,000 mark, well, the 7 Plus is the one to go for. So till now, it's almost a perfect story with the 7 Plus, but then that's gonna change with the last factor, which is the battery. Well, it's basically because when you buy a used iPhone 7 Plus, the battery health will be low, and that will in turn affect the battery backup. The unit I was testing was having 78% battery health, and with this unit, the battery backup was really bad. Screen on time was in the 2-hour range with moderate usage, and even if it was a unit with 90% or above battery health, well, then also the screen on time will probably be in the 3.5 hour plus range. So it's not like an exceptional battery backup with a used unit. And at best, if you plan to do a battery replacement, well, then you'll get the best battery backup from a 7 Plus, but then also don't expect a miracle 6-hour plus screen on time. The battery capacity of the 7 Plus is 2900 mAh, which is just a moderate size battery. And here another issue in the battery side is the charging time, because the phone doesn't support fast charging. So if you plan to fully charge the phone from 0% with the 5-watt included charger, well, the time needed is approximately 3 hours. So these stuff does put the 7 Plus at a lower spot when compared to the competition in the battery department. Almost all phones under the 20,000 price bracket nowadays have a huge battery, and also they do support fast charging, so that's a drawback thing for the 7 Plus in 2021. And here the 7 Plus doesn't have a standout battery feature like wireless charging support. Then in the Bluetooth version also, the 7 Plus does show its age, because the Bluetooth version is 4.2 and the range is just fine. But with Wi-Fi, well, it's dual band Wi-Fi, and here there wasn't any Wi-Fi range issues, and the phone has NFC, which in turn gives the phone Apple Pay support, and also all sensors are present in the 7 Plus. Well, I guess that's everything about the iPhone 7 Plus in 2021. And after checking all this, you should now be having a clear picture about the 7 Plus. And here to summarize, the first key highlight to note is that the price you should be spending for a 7 Plus in 2021 must be in the 18,000 Indian rupees range. And if you find a good condition unit in that price range, well, then what you're getting is a phone which is excellent in the build quality department and also in the design side. Even though there is a minor bezel drawback, the rest is still looking great. And here the display quality is also something that's still perfect, and that's backed by a good stereo speaker setup. And here the performance side is even now a standout factor, and on top of all that, the camera is holding well because of the best quality video output. Battery side is the major drawback, and right now there are certain missing features too, which are becoming standard to the newly launched phones in 2021. But if your priorities are the positives of the 7 Plus, well, then getting one for the above mentioned price is still good, and it will be so for another year too. That's all for this video, guys. Hope you liked it. If so, a like is much appreciated, and a sub to the channel will be great. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.